This is what the map looks like at the end of round 20. The goal is to be the first faction to defeat Kel'Thuzad. He hangs out in Stratholme. They have until the end of round 30 to do so. If they don't, there will be a final PvP battle between the Alliance and Horde. At the beginning of the round, Grumbaz decides to take a rest action and use his Crocolisk stake to regain all his health and all his energy. He then uses his second action to travel to Chill Wind Point. Leeam then uses his 2 actions to also meet up at Chill Wind Point. Zowka does the exact same thing. I thought of some medium risk moves these characters could have taken for the Horde, but they're so far behind that they have to play it safe for now. Grumbaz gets traded a Footman Tunic and equips it at the end of the round. The round marker moves to turn 22 and an event card is drawn. It ends up being the Hinterlands War. At the end of your enemy's faction turn, if your faction has a character in both Saradane and Shadra Allure, your faction wins this war, and each character of your faction receives the following based on if they're the stronger faction with more experience or the weaker faction with less experience. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 21. At the beginning of the round, Brandon and Brebo decide to challenge the Spider at Altar of Zul. They need to roll 4s because the threat level is 4. Brebo decides to go first, and he gets to roll 4 blue dice, 3 red dice, and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 6 hits. He then uses his rerolls and gets 2 more hits. He then uses Sky Color Wand to add 1 to attrition. We add 4 hit tokens to damage, 3 hit tokens to defense, 2 armor tokens to defense, and 1 hit token to attrition. Brandon gets to go next, and he gets to roll 5 green dice and 3 red dice. He ends up getting 3 hits. He uses his rerolls and gets 1 more hit. He has to add a stun token for the Spider's special ability, but he also gets to add 3 attrition. We add 1 hit token to defense, 3 armor tokens to defense, and 2 hit tokens to attrition. The Spiders attack back for 9, but they have enough defense to receive no damage. We then move all of the damage tokens into the damage section, which is enough to defeat the red spider, and there's a little bit left over to go towards the green spider, but we have to go another round. Brebo gets to roll 4 blue dice, 3 red dice, and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 5 hits. He uses his rerolls and gets 1 more hit. He then receives 2 stun tokens because of the spider's special ability. He also gets to add 1 to attrition because of his Sky Color Wand. We add the 4 hit tokens to damage, 2 armor tokens to defense, and 1 hit token to attrition. Brandon gets to go again, and he rolls 2 red dice and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 2 hits. He uses his 2 rerolls and gets 1 more hit. He then has to add 1 more stun token for the spider's special ability. He also gets to add 3 attrition. We add 2 armor tokens to defense, 1 hit token to defense, and 3 hit tokens to attrition. We then move all of the hit tokens into damage, and it's just enough to get rid of the last spider. At the end of the battle, we get to remove all of the stun tokens. They get to split 11 gold, 6 experience, and a blue item. Brebo gets 6 gold, Brandon gets 5 gold, and they both get 3 experience, which levels up Brandon to level 4. He now has 9 health and 6 energy, and he gets to regain all of it, and he has to choose a new talent between Benediction, Improved Holy Light, Vengeance, Improved Might, Mace Specialization, Improved Righteousness, and Improved Devotion. He ends up going with Improved Holy Light. They'll need some extra healing for the final battle coming soon. The blue item Brebo gets is Firestarter. His backpack is now full because you can only have 3 items, so he has to choose 1 to go back to the merchant deck. He chooses Neophyte's Robe. The Alliance choose the first red quest of the game, and they end up getting a Natural Fury. Brandon uses his second travel action to move to Shadra Allure. Brebo ends up doing the same exact thing. Burbbon uses his second action to travel to Ruins of Anderhall. Brebo at the end of turn equips Firestarter. The round marker moves to turn 23, and a new purple item is added to the merchant deck. It ends up being Death Chill Armor. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 22. At the beginning of the round, Grumbaz, Leeam, and Zowka decide to challenge the ogre at Chillwind Point. They need to roll 4s because the threat level is 4. He gets to roll 3 red dice, 3 blue dice, and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 5 hits. He rerolls his dice and gets 2 more hits. He also gets to add 1 to attrition because of Blood Fury. We add 2 hit tokens to damage, 3 hit tokens to defense, 2 armor tokens to defense, and 1 hit token to attrition. Leeam gets to go next. He gets to roll 2 blue dice, 2 red dice, and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 3 hits. He uses his rerolls and gets 2 more hits. He gets to add 1 to attrition for Shadow Wand. We add 2 hit tokens to damage, 2 hit tokens to defense, 1 armor token to defense, and 1 hit token to attrition. Zowka gets to go next, and she gets to roll 6 green dice and 3 red dice. She ends up getting 5 hits. She also gets to add 2 to attrition for Blood Fairy and Solid Iron Maul. We add 3 hit tokens to defense, 2 armor tokens to defense, and 2 hit tokens to attrition. This is more than enough to block the 9 attack of the ogre. Then all of the hit tokens go into the damage section, and it's more than enough to defeat him. They get to split 12 gold, 5 experience, and the best of 3 blue items. Grumbaz gets 4 gold, Leeam gets 4 gold, and Zowka gets 4 gold. They're all on the same spot on the experience tracker, so they have to roll dice to see which 2 characters get an extra experience. The roll ends up getting Leeam and Grumbaz the extra experience. Grumbaz gets 3 experience, 2 from the split, and then 1 more extra for being under level compared to the quest. Leeam then gets his 2 experience, and Zowka only gets her 1. Leeam gets to decide between Lesser Healing Potion, Battle Smasher of the Bear, and Wand of Eventide. He ends up choosing Wand of Eventide. The Horde choose a new yellow quest, which ends up being Dealing with Goblins. All 3 of them use their last action to travel to the Uplands. At the end of the round, Leeam equips Wand of Eventide. The round marker moves to turn 24, but nothing special happens. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 23. At the beginning of the round, Brandon and Brebo decide to challenge the Red Wildkin at Shadra Alor. They need to roll 5s because the threat level is 5. He gets to roll 4 red dice, 2 blue dice, and 3 green dice. He ends up getting 5 hits. He then gets to use the Firestarter Wand to see a 7+ red or blue to roll another red or blue and gets no more hits. He then uses his rerolls and gets 3 more hits. He then uses Piercing Ice to spot a blue 8 to roll 2 more red dice. He ends up getting 1 more hit. We add 5 hit tokens to defense, 2 armor tokens to defense, and 2 hit tokens to damage. Brandon gets to go next. He gets to roll 5 green dice and 3 red dice. He ends up getting 5 hits. He uses his rerolls and gets 2 more hits. He gets to add 4 to attrition because of Holy Shield, Reckoning, and Seal of Righteousness. He also gets to heal up 1 health, but he doesn't need it. We add 3 hit tokens to defense, 4 armor tokens to defense, and 4 hit tokens to attrition. The Wildkin then attacks for 9, but they have more than enough defense to take no damage. Then all of the hit tokens move into damage, and it's more than enough to defeat the Wildkin. They get to split 12 gold, 7 experience, the best of 2 blue items, a blue item, and they have to choose between the Fist of the People's Militia or Electrocutioner Leg. Brebo gets 6 gold, Brandon gets 6 gold, and then Brebo gets 4 experience. Right here on the picture, I had him get 5 because I thought he was underleveled. He was not. I'm going to fix that when I go back to the next Alliance round. And then Brandon gets his 2 experience because he's supposed to get 3. He is overleveled, so he gets an experience penalty. Brebo hits level 4. Brebo now has 6 health and 11 energy, and he gets to regain all of it, and he has to choose a new talent between Shatter, Incinerate, Arcane Mind, Ice Block, Winter's Chill, Impact, and Arcane Meditation. He ends up going with Arcane Mind. He chooses this to have more energy with the final battle with Kel'Thuzad. Brandon has to choose between Scroll of Great Strength and Glyphed Helm. He ends up choosing Glyphed Helm. He also ends up getting bone-studded leather. He has to choose between Fist of the People's Militia or Electrocutioner leg. He ends up going with Fist of the People's Militia. The Alliance choose a new red quest and get Lair of the Worm. Burbbon then challenges the Ogre at Ruins of Anderhall. He needs to roll 4s because the threat level is 4. He gets to roll 7 blue dice, 4 red dice, and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 7 hits. He then uses Serpent Sting to change the 1 blue into an 8 blue. He then gets to use his rerolls and gets 4 more hits. He then uses Mortal Shots to spot 3 8 blue dice to add 3 more hit tokens to damage, and he also gets to add 1 to attrition for improved sting. We also use White Tiger to spend 1 energy to change the 3 blue die to a 4, which is another hit. We get to add 10 hit tokens to damage, 4 hit tokens to defense, 1 armor token to defense, and 1 hit token to attrition. The hit tokens and damage is enough to defeat the Ogre during the ranged combat step, so he doesn't get to attack back. Burbbon gets 13 gold, 5 experience, which helps him hit level 5. He also gets 1 blue item. He now has 10 health and 10 energy, and he gets to regain all of it, and he has to choose a new talent between Frenzy, Lacerate, True Shot, Growl, Aim Shot, Lethal Shots, Improved Hunter's Mark, Precision, or Lightning Reflexes. He ends up going with True Shot to lower the threat, especially of Kel'Thuzad in the final boss fight. The blue item he ends up getting is Witch Doctor's Cane. His bag is full and can only hold 3 items, so he has to choose an item to discard back to the merchant deck, which ends up being Fine Longbow. The Alliance choose a new red quest, which ends up being Howling at the Moon. Burbbon uses his second action to travel to the Weeping Cave. Brandon and Brebo use their travel action to fly to Pestilent Scar. At the end of round, Burbbon equips Witch Doctor's Cane, and Brandon equips Fist of the People's Militia and Glyphed Helm. The round marker moves to turn 25, and an event card is drawn. It ends up being Bounty. Randomly choose 1 Alliance character and 1 Horde character. The chosen characters each place 1 of their character tokens on this card. If a faction can defeat the enemy character on this card, every character of that faction gains 3 experience at the end of that combat. After 1 of the 2 characters on this card have been defeated in PvP combat, discard this card. We are going to do a roll off to see who becomes the bounty. It's going to be based off of the high roll. It ends up being Leeam for the Horde and Brebo for the Alliance. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 24. At the beginning of round 25, Grumbaz, Leeam, and Zowka challenge the Green Ogre in the Uplands. They need to roll 4s because the threat value is 4. Grumbaz gets to roll 3 red dice, 3 blue dice, and 3 green dice. He ends up getting 6 hits. He uses his rerolls and gets 2 more hits. He also gets to add 1 to attrition for Blood Fury. We add 3 hit tokens to damage, 3 hit tokens to defense, and 2 armor tokens to defense, and 1 hit token to attrition. Leeam is next. He gets to roll 4 blue dice, 2 red dice, and 2 green dice. He ends up getting 5 hits. He then uses his rerolls and gets 2 more hits. He has to lose 2 health because of the Ogre's special ability for rolling a red 2. We add 4 hit tokens to damage, 1 hit token to defense, and 2 armor tokens to defense. Zowka gets to go next, and she gets to roll 3 red dice and 6 green dice. She ends up getting 6 hits. She also gets to add 1 attrition for Blood Fury and 1 attrition for Solid Iron Maul. We add 2 hit tokens to defense, 4 armor tokens to defense, and 2 more hit tokens to attrition. This is more than enough defense to block out the Ogre's 9 attack. Then all of the hit tokens move into damage, and it's more than enough to defeat him. They get to split 14 gold, 6 experience, the best of 2 blue items, and another blue item. Zowka gets 5 gold, Leeam gets 5 gold, Grumbaz gets 4 gold. They all get to split 2 experience, but Zowka is the lowest on the experience track, and the quest was 1 level higher, so she gets the bonus experience. So she gets 3 experience, Leeam gets 2 experience, and Grumbaz gets 2 experience. Grumbaz has to decide between Advisor's Gnarled Staff and Dustfall Robes. He ends up choosing Advisor's Gnarled Staff, which he ends up trading to Leeam right away. The other blue item they get to Leeam is Enchanted Gold Blood Robe. The Horde choose their first red quest, which happens to be Shattered Mill. Grumbaz uses his second action to travel to Amber Mill to contest the PvP spot there. Zowka uses her second action to travel to the Shining Strand. She's going to contest the other PvP spot there. And finally, Leeam travels to Chillwind Point. At the end of the round, Leeam equips Advisor's Gnarled Staff and Enchanted Gold Blood Robe. The round marker moves to turn 26 and adds a new purple item to the merchant deck. It ends up being Tyran Smasher. This is what the map looks like at the end of round 25. The Lion's plan is to rush to Kel'Thuzad as fast as possible to defeat him first. The Horde, now with contesting the 2 PvP zones, they can look at the map and see that the Lions can't hinder them, so they're all going to get to level 4, and then they themselves will also rush to Kel'Thuzad if the Lions fail, or they're hoping, if the Lions fail, that they get to win in a PvP battle. To be continued to the final part.